get to talk about fun stuff, bugs and critters. So when you go in the garden, you're going to need to be a detective. And what does a detective do? Good. They look around, try to see if they can find clues. So, next slide. Okay. We're going to talk about insect mouth parts today. You can see all these different examples of mouth parts. So what is this first one over here? What does it say? Sponging. That determines what type of mouth part it is. And certain bugs have sponging mouth parts. What does this guy do? Siphoning. There's a siphoning mouth part. And this one over here?
Sucking.
Okay. And then this last guy? Chewing. That's right. Okay, next slide. Now, what is this guy? It's a caterpillar. And caterpillars go around and they chew on things and they have a chewing mouth part. I'm going to show you an example of a caterpillar and how it damages your tomatoes. So I'm going to pass this around. You can see all the little holes in there. And at first glance, you might think that a bird got this. But I believe it was Miss Opperman said that she brought it, and she said she had looked in there and saw some little caterpillars. So this is a caterpillar that's damaged this. So I'll let y'all just pass that around and take a look at it. Let's just check it out. Okay, everybody, let's go to the next one. All right, there are types of insects that in a garden that are good. Did y'all know that a ladybug is a good insect?
Yeah.
And do you know why she's a good insect?
Because she eats the milkweed plant.
Absolutely, she eats aphids. Aphids can be real pests. And so instead of using a pesticide to control the aphids or whatever insect is getting into your garden that harms your garden, you can actually go to the store and buy bags of little ladybugs. And so you take those to your garden and you let them go. And do y'all remember the reason why we don't like to have pesticides and things like that in our garden? Yes, ma'am. Yeah, and what kind of garden do we have? You know, organic garden. Who said organic back there? Yeah, exactly. We have an organic garden, and that the word organic means that everything is natural. So we're not going to put anything in there that's going to ultimately end up in your stomach or mine that's harmful.
What kind of a mouth part do you think that lady beetle has?
Chewing.
Chewing, yeah. They're hard mouth parts and they can chomp on those small insects.
And so this is an example of a lady beetle larva. Next slide. Now, what is this guy? Stink bug. And what kind of mouth part does he have? A sucking, yeah. And what they do is they can go in there and they'll bore into the plant and then suck out the stuff, and it makes the plant sick or it dies. And what are these guys? And what kind of mouth part do they have? Yeah, see that. What kind of insect also has a sucking mouth part that bothers you and I?
Mosquitoes.
Exactly, yeah, mosquitoes. In fact, there we go. There's our champion right there. Mosquito feeding on a person. Now, these guys are really interesting. If you'll notice, see how their mouth part right here kind of twirls up?
Yeah.
So what happens is when they find a flower, then it rolls out, and then they get in the flower and get the nectar. But what do they also do while they're in the flower? Right, they pollinate. So those are great insects. All right, who do you think did that?
Grass.
Grass is a result of it. Okay. Would it have been a caterpillar or an aphid? Or exactly. Caterpillar did that. And frass is actually caterpillar soup. Nice word of saying.
So they're wondering what frass is?
Yeah, it's caterpillar.
Feces.
Waste.
Feces, the ones that
That's very good.
leftover. It's their digest.
All right, there's an example of our little friend, the caterpillar. Now we don't want to kill all caterpillars or get rid of them. Right, right. Those caterpillars we like to have around, but then there's those that we don't like. Now, who do you think did this?
See, it's like a skeleton.
See, what they do is they go in there and they eat all the in-between parts, and so it ends up looking like a skeleton. It reminds me of one, doesn't it, y'all? Like a human skeleton or an animal skeleton. That's why it's called that.
The middle part's kind of like the backbone of it.
I know.
That one looks like reptile scale, but you don't have to see it right out.
See, this is a good one here, and this is what happens when somebody who isn't supposed to be there shows up and eats it. So it pretty much destroys the leaf itself. And when the leaf looks like this, what type of process can't occur? What happens in a leaf? Photosynthesis.
Good job, Chloe.
Mhm. All right, here we go. You got examples of caterpillar? Somebody knows. I know. Isn't that cute? I didn't realize that until somebody pointed it out. Isn't that cute? Okay, now.
Okay, let's listen. She's telling us
Here's
about it.
our ladybug here. Mhm. Those guys did that. We need to get rid of them.
The lady beetles only feed on insects,
Right.
and that's probably a cucumber beetle.
Oh, that's right, okay.
That worm just looks delicious.
Okay, next one. Okay, who do you think did this? What critter do you think did this? What bug?
A stink bug.
Probably a caterpillar.
No, I don't see holes in there. Well, there is holes right there. Oh, yeah.
They go in there and they suck the insides out and discolor them. They go in there and chew out all the good spots, and it just pretty much ruins the fruit. Okay, next slide. There's our friend. Yeah. Our stink bug friend. What kind of mouth part does it have? Absolutely. Now, who do you think did that?
Causing it to kind of ruffle.
No, it's so stinky. It makes me
I know, I don't like it either.
Okay. So what have y'all decided? You think not a caterpillar, right? No. So what do you think? You think they're stink bugs? It's like just one cucumber beetle? No?
Something I'm thinking with this.
Aphids would do that?
It causes the leaf to react that way when all the juices are sucked out and it kind of curls in.
Right.
And then you need to look underneath to see what's going on under the leaf.
And that's why you're being a detective. These are all clues for you as you go around your garden and you notice things. And once you notice it, if you take a good look at it, then you can take care of the problem before it totally destroys your garden. You what? You need to take care of them. Yeah. These are our friends, those aphids again. What? Do y'all know what these are? No. It's called remind me what they,
They're a gall.
gall. And so,
Oh my god, those are on the tree in my backyard. I see them.
They're actually part of the plant, and it's the reaction of the plant to something that's happening to it.
right,
And it's usually an insect. And they're using the plant for, if we look at the next slide, we can see, this is a particular kind of a gall that's caused by an aphid. And look, it's protected by that growth. So that's really a cool adaptation by that insect.
they learn how to use it for their own benefit.
It's true, I haven't seen too many of them. But some
See, that's being a good detective, right there. Now here, in your garden, you're gonna have a lot of other things going on, so there's other things than insects that can cause plant damage. What are some of those? Birds. Mhm.
What else did you say, Ruby?
Bunnies and
Okay.
rats also can go
Well, the
in there.
birds are more a problem here because guess what?
When the tomato
They-
ripen, they come. So they put
Right.
them early, they're kind of like reddish, but not too red. So
There you go.
This
Exactly,
guy-
I hope you heard
That's
that.
smart. Good
Did everybody hear
one.
what
I want
she
you
said?
to, I want you to.
All right.
Shh, get it. Listen more, listen to this young lady.
one more time.
we have to pick them before they turn too red like that, or else birds will come and they'll see it's red, like, because they usually see black and white and red stands out to them. So when they see their color, they will remember and eat it. So that's when they'll think it's
Awesome. You're gaining those eggs. Very good. Okay, next. Look, we got a whole crew here. All kinds of people.
I hate raccoons.
Okay.
Raccoons get into my garbage.
Okay, everybody chill.
So I kill them. I kill them.
All right. We're going to talk about pesticides, but the way that sometimes the way they're treated is with things that can kill them. And so what is the common part of the word to herbicide, insecticide, and pesticide? What's common among them?
Side.
All right, and side means?
Kill.
Exactly. And we don't like to use any of those.
Side.
Anything with the side on it. What we like to do is something called integrated pest management. And there you put in critters and bugs that
That
take
helps us, but get rid of that.
Yes, ma'am, that's so good. Yes, help us by getting rid of them. And one that my favorite one of all is the ladybug. And y'all remember what she gets rid of? Aphids, yeah. Okay. And then we have, trying to think, what were they talking about last week? They got at Ace Hardware. There was ladybugs and
Ladybugs and praying mantis.
praying mantis. I was thinking walking stick, but a praying mantis is also really good for your garden. You can buy those things at the hardware store in bags, live ones that you take and let them go in your garden. Yeah. Okay, these are some natural pest controls. So, what do you have around here?
Hummingbird,
And this is a leaf wing. Silverman, what?
A green lace
wing.
wing.
Lace wing.
They love aphids and little tiny insects.
Aphids are really a big problem sometimes. Yes, ma'am.
I'll tell you, like, when we see hummingbirds, we shouldn't like try to scare them away, because you see that picture, it's actually helping us by getting rid of the bugs in there.
Yeah,
So we
and
should
they also
actually try to
pollinate.
attract them.
Right,
And
pollinate
because they
flowers.
pick up the pollen,
Mhm.
that's when they get other flowers and do that all the time.
Yes, ma'am, that's right. Okay. Okay, now, these are some other methods by which we can control things like mosquitoes. And this is actually a bacteria. These things can go in a pond or any kind of standing water where you just put them in there, and it's called Bacillus thuringiensis subspecies. So it's a type of bacteria that's released into the water, and it causes the larvae of the mosquitoes to not eat. So they basically starve. But these are really good for if you have a pond in the backyard and it tends to be a mosquito hangout. You want to go and get some of these, and then it'll take care of the mosquitoes because it'll starve the larvae.
And then birds.
It doesn't hurt anything else. It's very specific bacteria, just like you might get a stomach bug that just makes your stomach feel awful. It makes their stomachs feel awful and they stop feeding and die. But it's very, very specific, and it's one of the coolest things that we're finding. We can find different bacteria that take care of some of the different stages of these pesky insects.
Yes, sir.
Exactly where do you buy ladybugs? Because I remember in 4th grade our teacher bought this like butterfly cage area.
I think you can buy, I know you can buy them at Ace Hardware because that's where Miss Warnock said she got some, or she saw some the other day.
Yeah. Now the thing about buying anything like that, you have to be the one to look in your garden and make sure that you have some food for them. So what food are you looking for? Aphids or scale insects, tiny insects, white flies. If you don't have any food for them, guess what's going to happen? They have wings. They're going to fly away and you will have wasted that money. So you make sure you have a problem first before you go get a solution to it.
You don't need a solution to no problem.
Okay. And this is how we control caterpillars, and this is the same type of a concept. It's another type of bacteria that does the same thing to a caterpillar that the dumps do to the mosquito larvae. It just makes them not eat anymore and they starve. And then we also have this larva has been deposited on this caterpillar. You see the caterpillar at the bottom, but this larva has been deposited and it's eating into the caterpillar for food. So that's the way that caterpillars can be controlled. Yes, sir.
That's done by a type of wasp that doesn't look like most of the wasps that we know of. It looks more like a little black fly that it deposits its eggs right into the caterpillar, and those are the larval cases. If you see a tomato hornworm, which is what that caterpillar is, with those white cases on it, you leave it alone, because guess what? Those are going to be adult wasps, draconid wasps, that are going to then take care of other caterpillars.
Yes,
now,
sir.
if you have a butterfly garden, not so good, right? But they usually just infest the tomato hornworm.
You had a question, sir?
Yeah, there's a wasp called like a tarantula wasp, and like it lays its eggs on the tarantula, and then the eggs eat it.
There's all
That's a
kinds
new one
of
on me,
controls
yeah.
in
They
nature.
have, they come out.
Yeah, okay. So here's the next question. Can plants be pests?
Yes.
Absolutely they can. So what it says it leaves of 3, let it be. So what is that? And I bet you half the classes had experience with this. Poison ivy. Yeah. You don't want to get near that. And these are just some other examples of,
If it's hairy, it's
Yeah.
like rice.
you can see, yeah, you can see the hairy, it looks like the tree's hairy. Yes, ma'am.
I once accidentally touched poison ivy,
Uh-huh.
but I washed my hands before I could do the best could start. Yeah, I've seen lots of stuff before. Is that poison oak or something? I don't know.
Sometimes it's not always poison ivy. It goes on oak trees because I actually have a tree in my front yard that, and after my dad is supposed to like 5% on oak trees. But it depends where the area is and what type of plant it is. It doesn't always have to be that one.
Boo! So look at this. They're saying, ooh. It's kind of startling, isn't it?
Let's do the